and welcome to Two Pondering Pagans. I'm Rook.
And I'm Salon.
This is Iris.
Today we wanted to have a quick video, I don't know how quick it'll actually be, talking a little bit about being pagan in public and being pagan in the workplace. So let's get started. So I'm Salon, like I said, and I wanted to talk a little bit about something that kind of just came up this week at work for me. And basically, I had found out through somebody at work that another team member, actually one of the people I supervise, was saying things such as, I am dangerous, I could be dangerous to the organization because most likely I'm pagan. And at first, I just kind of blew it off and said, you know what, I don't really care what other people think, it doesn't matter to me. But the more and more I sat on it on my drive home, I ended up getting really upset. And at some point I called Rook and was just talking like, you know, this is really bothering me a lot more than I thought it would. Should I address it? How do I address it? Is it something I need to do? So out of that is born this discussion. So we decided to talk a little bit about maybe a little bit about the legalities, but I think for me it's going to be more about how I'm dealing with it, what I'm going to do about it, which will be another video, and just a little bit of how it all happened and how I'm reacting to it at this point with what I know and where I'm at within my craft. So really, you know, I guess my first reaction, like I said, was to let it go. Like, it's just don't worry about it. But then I couldn't let it go for some reason. I know that's probably a little bit related to just my personality. I will tell you, I ultimately decided not to address it. I don't know, Rook, would you have addressed it?
Probably not initially, unless it was a wider group of people that the discussion included. But if it came up again, I definitely would.
Yeah, I did kind of think maybe I'll just do a generic kind of address of it, you know, just to bring it up to some people. Say hi to Tina.
Hey, Tina.
Hi, Tina. She can cover my belly. Because she got her own big belly. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to address it, and right into the minute when I didn't finally decided not to address it, I literally, last minute, just said, you know what, I'm not going to address it. I'm going to let that be. You know, kind of looked up a little bit about discrimination, talked to a couple of people I trust at work on how they thought I should deal with it. And people had differing perspectives. Some people said, you know, you have to deal with it, and some said you don't. The first thing I did, though, was related to Facebook. And that was go through and comb my privacy settings, which I highly recommend, even if you're not in the broom closet, because I'm certainly not in the broom closet and I don't hide it. Make it all private. If somebody is not on your friends list, they shouldn't have any access to your stuff. And people in your friends list shouldn't be work. You know, I had some good friends on there that I would like to stay in contact with. I'll add them if I ever leave. But other than that, they're not going to be part of that process for me, because it's just too unsettling. I'm not worried legally. I don't think my organization has a problem. They're very good on diversity, equity, and inclusion. But just to have to deal with this at work is stressful to me. So I did look a little bit about legality, and I just wanted to clarify the two things that people tend to throw around a little bit, which is discrimination and harassment. Mm-hmm. Generally in the United States, in the business aspect, harassment would be if she makes it uncomfortable for me to work, even as an employee of mine or somebody that I supervise. Discrimination would be different. That would be my organization treating me differently because of it. I don't think I have a problem with that specifically. So I am going to, you know, kind of keep that part mums a little bit. So I know you read a little bit, Rook, about it. What do you think?
So actually, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination when it comes to any aspect of employment: hiring, firing, fringe benefits, training, promotion. So that is actually covered in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It's also illegal to harass someone based on his or her religious preference or lack of a religious preference. You can also not practice job segregation. So that means if you have relics or clothing pertaining to a certain religion, your company cannot put you in the back room in a non-customer contact position just because of religious clothing or jewelry or anything like that. And that discrimination means that you're being treated differently because of your religious practice or lack thereof. So it's definitely clear, and it's been around for many, many years. I guess what's disappointing in that someone would go on a social media page and look at something like that in your personal life and even bring it up at work when it has nothing to do with work.
And the idea that I could be dangerous just because of that just shows their ignorance. But a lot of people will say, well, you know better than to have work friends on social media. But it wasn't a work friend that identified or had the issue. It was my settings. My settings on Facebook where friends of friends can see this. So somebody that previously worked in my organization who left is now a friend on my Facebook. That person's left their friend with this other individual. And that's how they were able to access and see my posts. Now, funny thing, my posts are very G-rated. They're very either dogs.
So much.
Yeah, they're either dogs or diversity style or positivity. I don't really post much else. Nothing discriminatory. Nothing that would be misconstrued. So I'm not worried about that. But the fact is, it caused an issue. So I went in and changed those settings and took a few people off, which is sad. And again, I didn't address it, and I feel it's still bothering me. So I'm going to use my craft and my beliefs to help me get through that. Now, if it happens again, or if something else is continued to be said, or I hear about something else being said, then most certainly I am going to have to address it. I mean, there's no question there. But anyway.
Well, too, I'm kind of joking, kind of not. You handled it a lot better than me, because what I would have done is next time I saw that person in real time, I would have told her, I'm going to put a spell on you. So that's probably not the best way to do it, or I would have asked her for a lock of her hair.
You'd have just taken it.
I'd have just plucked it out. That's a whole other kind of issue, and don't do that, anybody. You could have gotten in trouble. I'd be interested to hear if anybody watching has experienced any kind of discrimination based on your practice at work or within a group. If you could just comment below, we'd love to hear about it and share how did you handle it. You don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what were the basics or where did it occur? And we would love to hear it.
Yeah.
Love to read about it.
I know recently there was something in the news about Panera where something very similar had happened, related to some religious discrimination. That was real religious discrimination. It was a little bit different. I don't wear any religious paraphernalia that's visible when I'm at work. I do wear a pinnacle necklace or a pentagram necklace or sometimes the horn god, but it's always underneath my shirt and not visible. But I'll be honest, in the end, what really bothers me is this person that I respect at work did this. And I don't want to address it specifically because it will involve somebody else who told me who didn't have to tell me. And I want to respect that privacy. But either way, the point is, I feel like it has hindered my ability to interact properly because somebody is immature. And it really hurt. That's the bottom line. It hurt. It's about to get really loud in here.
And I think too, like for me, luckily, my company and the people that I work with, I don't work with as great a number of people as Mystic does. So luckily the people where I work it's one building. I'm not like Mystic who has goes to multiple centers. And I actually think my company has some pagan roots or branches. The different divisions are named after different pantheons, so that was really cool. And a lot of the people are very accepting and talk about cleansing and clearing and crystals and sage and different things, Florida water. So I'm fortunate. Had that happen to me, I think a way I might feel would be angry or embarrassed or a little bit of both that the discussion was overheard by another person. And this is not cool.
And that's one way to look at it. I mean, I didn't even feel that way, embarrassed about it. I was angry at the person that I trusted for feeling like it was okay to say that I'm dangerous. Like, that's so opposite of who I am and what I do in any grand scheme of anything. So, I'll deal with it by not dealing with it directly, which, some will say, nope, you got to do it head on. You got to always, say exactly how you feel to everybody. And I just don't work that way. Some people may feel that's the right thing to do, and that's great if it works for you. But for me, I am who I am, and I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to hide that or change anything about my work with this person. They're allowed to have their own beliefs and feelings. I do trust the person that told me about what happened. So I do know it occurred. But I'm better than that. So I'll just get on my high horse and trot around her in circles because, moral of the story for me is, though, I need to make sure that I allow myself to be angry because I felt upset with myself about being angry. And that was kind of an odd place to be. I'm like, why are you mad about it? Don't care what other people think. But you know what? I do. And I've said this before in other places. I care what other people think. I always have. I always will. It is important to me that other people are comfortable around me. So for this person to talk about me, which I'm not used to people doing, is very odd. And would she have said something to me directly like, hey, I just wanted to ask you a question. Would it have been appropriate? No. It wouldn't have been appropriate then either. So it's obviously something she doesn't understand.
And really how people that would say something like that are actually the dangerous ones. Yeah, we're real dangerous. We're out talking to trees and taking walks and protecting nature and loving animals. So that's far less dangerous to me than what I was brought up with, which was Baptist. And that's not slamming that religion, but that's a lot more scary than paganism to me and nature.
So my next thought was, how am I going to deal with it? So I thought of a couple of different things. I know some people would probably recommend a sour jar. That's one thing I would love to talk about and do. But I also don't wish anything sour to this person because they do a good job with what they do work-wise and with the impact that they have. So I don't really wish anything negative. But what I will do is a binding, and I've done it before, and it has been very successful. So I will do a very similar ritual to one that I've done in previous times when somebody was talking about me and saying things that were not true or inappropriate or not appropriate for the setting. And that is what I call a tongue binding, but it's a binding spell that whenever this person says something negative about me, they will immediately know that something's not right and that they need to stop, whether it's a sign, a symbol, a reminder. Maybe their family member just says something randomly, hey, you're talking about somebody. Maybe the person that she's interacting with looks at her and says, that's really wrong of you to do that. So the tongue binding to me is a way to put energy back out into the universe that I can let it go, let the universe handle it. I will put my piece out there, and you know what? It's not up to me to change her as a person. Now, we will certainly move to direct response, sour jar, pissing in a jar,
slap a hoe.
if it happens again, and I hear about it, because there's going to be a point where it will start affecting the team that I have been building, and that I won't stand for. So I work way too hard to get the team together that I work with, and I love every one of them, even the one that's messing me up. So hopefully she'll get the idea that that's not okay to do. And then, should that person ever contact me outside of work and say, hey, I apparently didn't understand something. I want to know more about it. I'm going to tell you. He's like, we may believe differently, but I can assure you it's certainly not dangerous. Interesting side note, I do have quite a few people at work that have contacted me saying, hey, I noticed you do tarot. Hey, I've noticed you're in nature religion a lot. Can you tell me more about it? So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's really neat, interesting. And that's the first time you've ever had anything like that happen?
First time.
Yeah.
So that's it, allow myself to go through the feelings of being upset, angry, letting it go. I'm going to work my spell today or tomorrow. I'm going to carry it around with me in the way that I do my own personal spells. I may hop out my cell phone and take a little video when I start doing it, depending on where I'm at, because I have to leave early this weekend for work. And that's it. Do you have any closing comments or any other thoughts?
Nope, just again, share any experiences in the comment section that you've had with discrimination based on religion. Hit that like and subscribe button if you wish to do so. And we, two pondering pagans, Tina, Iris, and Ma Petite, and I don't know if she's caught in here, VG, our newest edition, say thank you for watching.
Don't suck in your gut too much, you might pass out.
Bitch.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to suck it in. Oh my God, it's hard. I know, we have some mad
They're
chihuahuas off and running.
They're off.